What's up, Tiger fans? Welcome back to another episode of Tiger Talk TV. I am the Corey C. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, turn on that notification bell. You don't want to miss a single upcoming episode. You can find us on the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. So be sure to follow the show and tell every Tiger that you know. And remember, when you support Tiger Talk TV, it all helps the cause, which is the I love Jackson State University. All right, we're back. We got another coach in the building, brand new coach. You probably seen the face, but now you want to hear the voice and get to know him, his background, his philosophy, and what he's bringing to the table. Of course, the new linebackers coach, none other than Coach Justin Sanders. Welcome to Tiger Talk TV.
Corey, appreciate you having me.
Oh man, my pleasure. We've been wanting to do this since the day, not even the day you were announced, the day that we heard you were going to be announced. We couldn't wait. When it was unofficial, we were just waiting for it to be official. As soon as it was official, we said we got to bring him on. So welcome, 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 man. We're happy to have you.
Man, appreciate it. Appreciate it. I've been seeing some of the other guys get on. I've been waiting my turn.
Okay,
Like I
okay.
said, I've been excited to get on.
No doubt. Well, we tried to find the perfect time. They want to bother you in the spring. We could imagine in the spring you're trying to get acclimated, figure out your team, get ready for spring practice, probably still moving back and forth from Charlotte. Then if we wait too late, it's fall, and we don't want to bother y'all. So we said, look, let's do it right now. Let's do it.
I say perfect timing. Perfect
No
timing.
doubt. No doubt. Well, welcome home also. How does it feel to return at home?
Man, it's awesome. I'm gonna be honest with you. The reception, the love. Like I said, I grew up probably. Sure, I grew up 20, well, not even 20 minutes
Mm,
away from the stadium, going to
wow.
games, and so just being back around and things getting married up and shoot, it's been love.
Yeah, yeah. So talk about growing up in the area and playing football. And for the ones who don't know, tell them exactly where you're from. I know you said 20 minutes, but that could be Madison, Clinton, Byron. Tell them where you're from.
I went to Pearl High School. Went to Pearl High School, graduated class of '04. Man, I played football under Coach Weems, Larry Weems, and so I played linebacker, and so that's why I got my start. And
Mm-hmm.
so we had some pretty good teams. Has a lot of good rivalry games against Brandon.
Mm.
I tell people all the time. The last game I remember, the last game that I was nervous was my 10th grade year playing Brandon against Jairus Norwood. He was the
Mm.
running back
Oh,
over
wow.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. It didn't finish that well for us, but I played in front of like 12,000 people in 10th grade, and ever then, I'll be honest with you, I ain't never been nervous for a football game since.
Man, I can imagine, man. I remember seeing Jarius Norwood for the first time. I remember the first time, and I didn't know who he was. Could have been his ninth or 10th grade year. The first time he touched the ball, he took it to the house, and I looked at somebody and I said, "That's an NFL player right there." I didn't know his name or nothing. You just knew
I
right away.
wish he's one of the best players that I've ever played against.
Yeah. So when you were in the 10th going up against him, was he a senior?
He was a senior. That was a
Oh, I
senior
can
year.
imagine, man. A
Yeah,
10th
as a
grader going,
senior year.
okay. Yeah. So he kind of broke you
They
in.
were. We had just come up. Both of us were undefeated. It was the third game of the year. They were already. They
Mm,
were number one in the state. We had just beat Clinton and I think Northwest Rankin. Really big game. Shoot, everybody's excited about. They say
mhm,
12,000 people. A rivalry game.
mm.
I'm gonna be honest with you, got out of hand kind of fast, but
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, obviously, you went on to have a pretty good high school career because you went on to college, JUCO, and of course, college. But first at Northeast Mississippi Community College, where you were the defensive back MVP of the MACJC North Division, and then
Mhm.
at Illinois, where you were a key piece of a team that went to the Rose Bowl. So, sum up
Yes.
your time briefly at Northeast, and then definitely talk a little bit about Illinois and that experience.
Oh, junior college was awesome for me. I got a chance to link up with Coach Benji Parker. He's the head coach at Northwest now. And there we put together some really good teams. We were number one defense in the state. And from there, I got the opportunity to play at University of Illinois. People ask me all the time how I get to Illinois.
Hmm.
Be honest with you, it's because of Runs Up. Runs Up was at Florida. When he was at Florida, he recruited me, and then he got the job at Illinois, and I just kind of
Wow.
kept tabs with him, and I ended up north.
Hmm.
And so my
Wow.
time at Illinois was fun. I got a chance to start and play at really all five positions, back end positions. Again, finished up at the Rose Bowl, played with a lot of good players. And shoot, I couldn't be mad. And because I say it gave me an opportunity to get a second in, play for a hot second in the league
Yeah.
and keep it moving.
Wait a minute. You said five back end positions. Let's slow down. Let's
Yeah,
backtrack.
I
Five,
got I got a
talk
chance.
talk about that. Hold up.
Well, I came in as a safety, so I had starts at safety. I also was a starting nickel. So it was a Big Ten. They are 4-3. So they had three linebackers, but on third down, they gonna drop you down to a nickel, five DBs, and so I was a starting nickel as well. And then we had some injuries. Uh, my what my senior year, I got it, and then I got started at corner, and so I say it was like I say a pretty good deal. I say I knew it, one of my attributes. I really studied the playbook, and
Mhm.
so I was one of those guys that knew all five positions, so I had some versatility.
So talk about, and we'll get to your coaching, but let's jump ahead real quick. Just talk about how playing so many different positions helped you as a coach, just knowing those positions. Because we had Coach Javancy Jones on the show, and he played in the 3-4 and the 4-3. I think he had four defensive coordinators while he was at Jackson State. They all had a different scheme, so he can play with his
Mhm.
hand in his dirt. He can wherever you line him up. So when I think it was Coach Quinn or someone asked him about his defensive philosophy, he just said all of them. He can kind of blend them all and kind of be versatile. So how did playing those different positions help you better understand the secondary and be, and I know you're linebackers coach, but just be a better secondary coach at first.
Well, honestly, it's about understanding how you fit in. I think when you understand the defense, you're able to understand when you can be aggressive, when you got to protect, and then at the same time, you know what's going on around you, and so you're not just trying to memorize something a coach told you to do. And you again, once you know what people around you are doing, you know how you fit in, and now you know what plays are yours to make, and you go out there and you got to make them because again, sometimes you're the aggressor, sometimes you're the protector.
Mhm. And then take us through that next phase for you after Illinois, from your shot at the NFL, and then how you transition into coaching.
Got you. Well, I got an opportunity to sign an undrafted free agent, and I was there. I wasn't there long at all. I signed with Detroit Lions, and it's crazy. Me and Manny Ramirez, the old line coach here, me and him were there at the same time.
Wow.
It's crazy, and
Wow.
so, but I was there really for a hot second, and then I got right into coaching. And that fall, I was released, and then my high school O line coach was coaching in Quitman,
Hmm.
and they needed a math teacher. They had no more coaching spots open, and they needed a math teacher. I think their math teacher, like I think, was sixth and seventh. I'll tell you back, it was their seventh grade math teacher. She quit like 2 weeks into the school.
Oh man, come on now.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so they needed a math teacher, and I was like, man, I love to come down and get into coaching
Mhm.
because the thing about it, when I was with Detroit, Jimmy Lake was a DB coach, and I learned probably more football in those basically 6 weeks I was there than I had learned my whole year, my whole
Mhm.
career. And it upset me at the same time, but it also motivated me to go help and teach other young men about football. And so I had a passion for that. And honestly, it started on the X's and O's and like chess piece type deal because I was a math major in college. It's crazy. I was a math major in college,
Okay, it worked
and
out.
so it's really started my love for football is like that chess piece, trying to stop the offense. And so when I got a chance to start coaching, man, I started having a passion not only for teaching football to kids, but also mentoring the young men, helping them through life as far as making good and right decisions, and just understanding being accountable. For me, I'm real big on teaching accountability, and when it comes to my guys, because you don't always like football is the best team sport, right?
Mhm.
At the end of the day, you gotta own up to what you did in the play. All right. And just because you did right doesn't mean that we as a group gonna be successful. All right. But in life, you gotta be able to own up to the benefits and the consequences of the decision that you made.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
so and for me, that's kind of how I got in it. And so I did that for what I did that for 3 years. Excuse me, 4 years. I coached for 4 years. I coached 3 years at Quitman. Then I got opportunity to get a little bit closer to home. I coached at
Okay.
Richland, right down off
Richmond. Okay.
49.
Yep. 49.
I was there for I was there for the football season. I got my first opportunity to get into college.
Hmm. And then from there, was it a grad assistant
I
at
did.
North
It
Carolina,
was
Texas A&M?
grad assistant at UNC Chapel Hill when
Okay.
Coach Fedora was there. So when Coach Fedora left Southern Miss and headed up to, I took that job at Chapel Hill. Me and him had been in contact. It was really more so the D coordinator Dan Dish.
Hmm.
We had been in contact, and I've been trying to break into the college ranks, and it really just kind of God worked that out for us,
Yep.
and I got an opportunity to go up there and work. And I worked with the back end for 2 years. I learned a lot. I learned a lot.
I'm sure. Yep. And then from there, I know you spent some time at Texas A&M, but let's
Yeah,
jump ahead to your time as a secondary coach and special teams coordinator at the powerhouse, East Mississippi Community College. You were able to come back home, and you guys, of course, had a lot of success, back-to-back national championships, three straight state championships while you were there, and only two losses in 3 seasons. And that was your first. Was that your first full-fledged coaching gig outside of high school ball? Because I know you were grad
it
assistant.
was.
Okay.
It
All right.
was. It was my first full time job. Got an opportunity to work at East. East was. I'll be honest with you. It was really exciting working there. It reminds a lot of things here at Jackson State remind me of East from the standpoint of the standard of excellence
Okay.
and the competition, talent level, and the expectation. And so, again, being able to coach with Coach Stevens, had a couple of different defensive coordinators while I was there, but at the same time, we had a lot of talent. I was able
Mhm.
to coach and develop. I think over my time there, I think I finished with 12 Power Four, Power Five guys,
Mm.
and I believe. Sure, I think I finished off with 16. I think really every I only had two guys at the time I was there that did not get a scholarship
Wow. Okay.
when I was there. So like I said, it was really fun. It was really fun. I only lost what 2 regular season
Yeah.
games, so that's
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah, no doubt. Got a taste of that winning. And next, it was on the Texas Southern as the DB's coach. So you in the SWAC, right? You had some
Hmm.
success there. I know you guys forced a lot of turnover. Your unit led the SWAC in interceptions one season with 17. What was that SWAC like for you the first time around?
Be honest with you, it was a great experience from the standpoint that I really got to get my hands in really the whole back seven, and so I got a chance to Coach C's was our D coordinator, but he let me be very hands on when it comes to game planning and when it comes to again strategizing, getting ready for the game. So not only while working with the secondary, he was able to put together. He was very good with letting me implement things, and so especially that last year. We was able to really turn the corner at Texas Southern, one game away from making a championship game. But again, after that, we had what 17 picks. We led the conference, and we were, I believe, top five in FCS. And so we did a lot of good things. Did a lot of good things. I thought we were building something really good.
Yeah. How did your time there prepare you for coming to Jackson State, just in terms of being familiar with the SWAC?
Be honest with you, it's just understanding the league. Be honest with you, just as how offenses play. A lot of 11 personnel. Like to keep the tight end in the box, but a lot of zone RPOs. And then just really understanding a lot of quarterback. Got to always be prepared for the quarterback every week.
Hmm.
And so being able to jump back into that, understanding how to defend, and you got to play with all 11. And then also understanding the fan base for each
Yeah.
different school, we're very passionate about
Mhm.
wherever we are. And so the fans are really well. But I will say this, there's no knock on Texas Southern, but it ain't nothing like, Jackson State fans. It's nothing like it. And I knew that coming back. And that's why one of the reasons why I was excited
Mm.
back. It's a true support system and a true love for their
No
team,
doubt.
school, alma mater, all of it.
No doubt. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah, we'll get into that. We want to get into that, but
Mhm.
let's talk about that previous stop because before you got to Jackson State, you were at Charlotte for 2 seasons
Mhm.
as a safeties coach. So talk about being a position coach on the G5 level and then that switch to the safeties room.
Um, I got an opportunity to get up to Charlotte with Coach Biff Poggi. Again, it was a great opportunity. Got some great people up there. Charlotte is a real young program,
Hmm.
and so kind of getting on. It's not necessarily the ground floor, but as they're kind of implementing or trying to get a winning culture up there, and so I was able to get around a lot of good people, kind of see how some things work at I say the bigger level, so to speak. Um, but it really prepared me from a organizational standpoint, making sure all 11 are on the same page and being able to teach in such a way that is that kids can understand. And so kids can understand and go out there and play fast. Because at the end of the day, especially on defense, and I know you hadn't asked me yet, but I can tell you, for me, my motto is again speed and violence.
Speed
And
and
so
violence.
for
Okay.
speed
Okay.
and violence. And so you got to be able to you got to play this game fast. And then you got to have bad intentions when you get there. And for defenses, since we're on the reactive side of the ball, the only way you can play fast is understand your responsibility and go out there and do it. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be thinking. The last thing you want as a defender is out there thinking. You want to react and go. Trust your eyes, see what you're supposed to see, and go. And so I think Charlotte kind of helped me be able to teach in such a way that we can move and go fast, so to speak.
Yeah. So when you first got the job, when I first heard you were coming, I said, man, someone else from Charlotte coming to Jackson State or vice versa. Because I don't know if you know this, but a lot of players and coaches have been going back and forth between Jackson State and Charlotte over the past few years. So, for example, Katron Evans, defensive end.
Yes,
Yeah, he started at Jackson State. I think he should have been there while you were there, right?
he was. He
Okay, yeah,
was.
Jackson State. You have Coach Tamika Reed. I know you're familiar with her, the women's
I
basketball
am.
coach.
I
Took
am.
her
Got a chance
entire
to meet
staff.
her a couple
Okay,
times.
took her whole staff and three players with her
Yeah,
from Jackson
yeah.
State to Charlotte. We have Solomon Rogers, the safety, who went to Charlotte. He spent his grad year at Jackson State. Now you might have missed him, right? I think
I missed him. Yeah,
missed him by a
he
year.
was leaving on my way in.
Okay, all right. So we had him. Coach Tim Brewster. He was at Jackson State with Coach
He
Prime.
was. Me and him. Yeah, me and him coached this past year together.
See that? He was
Coach Brew.
see, he was at Jackson State, and then now you're coming to Jackson. So I joke with the Tiger Talk crew all the time. I say, man, I don't know what's up with this love affair between Jackson State and Charlotte, but
You got that
I'm
right. Honestly, I didn't realize it
you
was that
didn't.
many people. But you're right.
I'm probably missing somebody, but those right
Yeah,
off the
yeah.
top.
I was gonna say, but man, that's what's up.
Yeah, I'm glad that the love affair kept going for at least one more round, so we can get you.
I,
Absolutely,
I'm telling you, I'm happy to be here.
no doubt, no doubt. But how did it come about coming to Jackson State? What was the connection, and how did it all start?
Shoot, to be honest with you, I'd been talking to Coach O, and so a position that came open, what I believe late January,
Hmm.
and so at the end of the year, well, at the end of the year, Charlotte, our staff got let go, and
Okay,
so
okay.
I talked to Coach O, kind of let him know, hey man, I'm out here looking, and then from then we had it kind of went dead because there wasn't really nothing going on, and so about late January, I believe, the linebacker job became open, and I reached out to Coach O, said it was something I was interested in. But then as I kind of started talking about some other opportunities that I'd had, and then he had hit me up. I think they were at the Legacy Bowl. And he's asked me, well, I'd be interested in, sitting down talking with him and TC. I said, man, yeah. I said, that's my home. I said, I always had
Hmm.
a place for Jackson State. So we kind of started talking a little bit more. He introduced me to Coach Quinn, and then I got a chance to get on a Zoom with him, uh, TC, and Coach Quinn. And so we kind of talked for a little bit. They told me some things they were looking for. I talked about some things that I was looking for, and they talked to me about the transition from going to the back end to
Yeah, yeah.
linebackers. And so we kind of talked about that. You talking about my philosophy, and then uh, we had talked. I think I want to say, man, we had talked. Trying to think. I think the Zoom interview was probably middle February, late February, something like that. Um, and then I didn't hear from him for a while.
Mm,
And then he hit me up. Then hit me up and said, "Hey man, come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's make this thing
mm,
official." I said, "Man, let's go." And so it all really kind of worked out. It really just worked out. To be honest, with you, I got two little kids. I got
okay.
Jackson and Journey,
Mhm.
6 and 3, and so to be back home around the
Oh
grandparents
yeah, man.
is
Yeah, absolutely.
is big. And so
Yeah.
so my wife's from North Carolina, and so
Okay.
I met her. Yeah, I met her when I was at Chapel Hill, and so
Mm,
it works out perfectly from the standpoint of we was in North Carolina, being able to be around her family and friends for a little bit, and now
yeah.
uh, really since high school and being in college ball, now I'm around home, and
Okay.
so it really worked out well.
Yeah. Wow. Talk about that transition from coaching on the back end to the linebackers room, and share what you can about the conversations, just the confidence on your side, on their side, in terms of bringing you in as a linebacker coach and making that change.
But well, honestly, I pride myself on being a football coach. It don't really matter what position. I think to be a football coach, you got to be able to teach, you got to be able to develop, you got to be able to motivate, and then you got to be a relational guy. Being honest, you got to be able to talk to your players about things got nothing to do with football. Uh, but at the same time, no matter if you're teaching safety or you're teaching linebacker, you're teaching corners, it's about eyes, feet, hands, and hips. And
Mm,
so, what I talk about again, no matter what it is, I feel like I can develop anybody. And
okay.
so, just the opportunity to coach linebackers is something that I was excited to do.
Mm,
It's a lot of things that translatable from the safety position. All
mhm,
right, but then there's a lot of things that's a little different from a standpoint of being able to read blocks and get off old linemen. But again, you just got to play with your hands.
mhm. Coach, I like to say we're kind of in the mold of a G5 program, Jackson State.
Mhm.
That's how at least that's how we see ourselves. The fans, I can't speak for the coaches. I'm pretty sure they would say the same, but you guys would say the same. But I know that's who we recruit to compete against, and that's how we gauge ourselves. So if you look at the USM game coming up, that's one that we circle and we say, okay, let's see where we're at. Last season we had ULM. We had them right there where we wanted them. Let it slip away. But having coached in the SWAC and then now obviously at TSU, and then now coming from the G5 level, talk about your early impressions of this program when you first got here. Not necessarily the personnel yet, just the way the program is run.
Be honest with you, I was really impressed from really day one. Uh, I feel like when I was in high school to now, Jackson State has come
Mm,
a long way. To be
yeah.
quite honest with you,
Yeah.
um, and just being able, I mean, it's to me, it's the little things. What I mean by that is we feed our players 3 times a day.
Okay.
Right? And to be quite honest with you, they don't do that everywhere at the in our conference and
Absolutely.
in some FCS schools.
Hmm.
And so just being able to feed them every day and being able to work out. Now again, you talking about getting a player, not just develop them with a football, but to be able to develop their bodies,
Hmm.
to be able to hold up during the season. And so, I look at my room. Um, I have guys that could play at the same school I just left,
Mm,
and I wouldn't miss a beat.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And so being able to do that is again, now that's one thing, but then just the culture. People
mm,
talk about it every single place I go to, but like I said, it reminds me of Easton in the standpoint of each side is trying to make each side better. Like offense is competing with defense, trying to make each other better. In the weight room, out there on the field, whatever it is, we're out there competing. And to be a championship program, you have to do that, and it has to come from within at your player level. And I feel like that's what we do. And it's even watching our guys going into meetings. Again, we come into meetings, we look like football players, we
mm,
look like we're ready to go. We're intentional. Like when they come in, the show they were all wearing the same thing, shirts
mhm,
tucked in, what I mean, things like that with a pencil and a pad. And like you come in a room and before coach has to say something, you see a player say something. To me, that stood out to me to my first week here,
mhm,
because a lot of times when you have this set of rules or culture that is policed by the coaches,
mm,
I feel like the players have really took ownership of what our standard is, and not only what our standard is. And again, I remind my guys that championship is great, we won it, but now everybody's shooting for us. So we're not going to get to the top of the mountain based off last year's work. So we got to come in every day ready to attack the process and be intentional about getting better every day.
mm. Well said. How important is that to creating a culture when you talk about those little things? A lot of players may look at it as little things, just the uniform, shirt not tucked in, 5 minutes early, maybe not being able to wear slides or whatever those little rules are that some players may say, oh, that's little stuff, no big deal. Especially you talk about a kid coming from the P4 level or the G5 level, coming to the SWAC and they're looking at how organized it is compared to a bigger conference. But maybe you weren't winning there and this is a winning program. So how does that kind of go over with the players who may not get it? But hey, this is Jackson State.
To be honest with you, a lot of them either get on board or get out the way. To be honest with you, because if you want to accomplish something special, like you really just don't do extraordinary things. You do the ordinary things
Okay.
really, really well over and over and over again. It is little. It is little. But so is the game of football. Like
Okay.
you can be so close to making a play, but you didn't make it. And so how do we get those extra inches? How do we get those plays of those 4 or 5 plays that we left out there? That's chasing them every single day. And so I just, like I said, I've had the conversation already, even with a couple of new guys. To be
Mm,
honest with you, it has nothing to do with football, but it has everything to do with football,
mm,
with being able to do those little things. Because if we can't trust you to do the little things when you're sitting down, air conditioners, no pressure.
mm,
How am I going to trust you when you in that vet and we got 50,000 people yelling, all right, and it's third, fourth down, and we got to get off the field to win and secure this game? How am I going to trust you in that environment when we can't do the little things in this environment? It has nothing to do with what you want to do. We all want to be successful, but and you hear it all the time. Said I think Ink Williams, the motivational speaker, says it. You don't rise to the occasions, you fall back to your habits. And so, and that's where I preach to him.
wow. Well said. Well said. Yeah,
Ink
those are good.
Johnson, that's what it is. Ink
Ink Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Good stuff. Good stuff.